I'd like to call to order the Village Board meeting of February the 19th, 2015, to order at 5:30 PM. And Clerk Simsky, can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gunther.
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Addington.
Here.
Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Barry.
Here.
Trustee Nero.
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Here.
Trustee Seneca.
Here.
Village Manager May.
Here.
Attorney Zemanek.
Here. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good evening, and I'd like to welcome everyone. First item on the agenda is open forum. I think the police chief went around, and if anybody's wanting to speak on anything that's not on the agenda, you still have an opportunity to see the chief and fill out a form. If not, I do have one request. It is from Gwen Westland and Shane Johnson, and it's about the National Donor Awareness Month, the upcoming proclamation and recycled life event. If you'd like to come up to the podium, both of you, and maybe give us some information.
Hi. My name's Gwendolyn Westland, and I'm a cancer survivor and heart transplant recipient, and I'm doing an event at the Westmont High School, obviously with the town of Westmont. They asked Mayor Gunter, to do a proclamation for the National Donor Awareness Month, just supporting the month, and making a proclamation will just bring more attention to the event, basically. It's an education and awareness event. It's not a fundraiser, and we're just looking to involve the whole community so that everybody gets a little attention and a little promotion, and show off the great town of Westmont. So really looking forward to it, and we just spoke to Life Goes On today, and hopefully we'll have some attention from the Secretary of State's office. And yeah.
It's March 28th, and you're going to run...
It's March 28th, I'm sorry, yes.
Day full of activities at the high school. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
Food and fun. We'll have entertainment. We'll have recycled crafts. We'll have, the Lions Club is going to supply boxes for recycled sight and hearing aids. We're going to have food from Sweet and Savory.
We'll
and
be there. And we'll be doing like cupcakes with different
cupcakes
colors.
for courage.
You know, for cancer survivors, stuff like that. You know, we're hoping to have Ronald McDonald there too. And it's just going to be a good family community event. And you know, Gwendolyn and I our lives have been touched in, you know, a little way.
Just a little.
Of cancer and so forth. Yeah. And from being, you know, I always tell people you try to empathize when you hear it, but when those words are directed to you and you're in the middle of it,
It's a little different.
you know, it's a little bit more severe, but you also see where things are that you can maybe try to help to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're trying to get done here, is get the education and awareness of organ donation, blood donating, and see how you can make an impact to people in need.
Yeah.
And so forth.
And what time does it start on March 28th?
It's 9 a.m. to 3, and we're hoping to do the official
Like the commencement or you know, we'll do that probably around 1 o'clock. So we're hoping to have, you know, the mayor, Secretary of State and so forth, the key people speaking starting at 1 o'clock, and have probably about a 20 or 30 minute commencement. And then we'll be running.
All are really important people.
So, but throughout the day though, like I said, you can sign up for the blood drive between 9 and 4. And then from 11 to 3, was it?
It's 9 and 3, and then 11 to 3.
All right, 11 to, so 3, 11 to
Yeah.
3. We'll be doing little
Donor
mini-
education
yeah,
segments.
education sessions, because we know this is kind of a
Personal
private
thing.
thing, personal. And so we'll have little side rooms where you'll go in and be able to get educated and ask the questions that you want to ask to better understand how this works.
And then there'll be really outgoing people like me available to talk to out in the public forum, so.
And I do have to say, I had an opportunity to sit down a week or so ago with Larry Forsberg, and remarkable, your story. And I think when people hear your story, they'll realize how important it is to be a donor. So
you very much.
I think this is a great event, and we're going to have you come back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
We're going to do a proclamation at that board meeting, and at the same time, we'll give you another opportunity to discuss it and maybe promote it a little bit more.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions? Anybody from the audience, or?
No,
Okay,
it's
this
just,
is,
Everybody here has seen me like 8 times.
your story is remarkable. If you haven't
I mean,
heard her
isn't-
story.
Isn't it nice to see 2 walking miracles right in front of us? I mean, that's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we
Thank you.
wouldn't
true.
be here without,
Yeah.
Yeah,
medical
it's-
and,
It's amazing what, medically they can do these days, and
Yeah.
we're blessed to be able to have that,
yeah,
so.
and
Good.
good attitudes.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other items during open forum, I'll close open forum and move on to reports. And again, the first report, of course, is mine, the mayor's report. I do have to, real quick, 2 things with the coffee with the mayor. This weekend, unfortunately, at Citrus Restaurant that's going to be postponed. It's going to be moved to May 2nd at 8:30 at the Citrus Restaurant at St. James Crossing. But the next coffee with the mayor will be at Golden Basket on the same Saturday, March 28th at noon. So you can go to Coffee with the Mayor Golden Basket and then go up to the Westmont High School to participate in the Organ Donation Awareness Day. Then I also at this time would like to introduce Diane Main, and Diane Main is current president of the Westmont Park District. She was elected this past January to be the chairman of the Illinois Association of Park Districts, which is IAPD Board of Trustees. That is a statewide association that she will lead over 360 park districts throughout the state. So I think it's an honor when we have one of our own representing the state of Illinois. So I asked Diane to come and maybe say something about the association.
Well, thank you. I am so honored to be chair this year of IAPD, which is, like Ron said, Illinois Association of Park District. It's a wonderful organization. It's very well run, and a lot of that is our CEO, Peter Murphy's at the helm. He does a great job, and so does his entire staff. And the board is all volunteers, non-paying volunteer commissioners. And I think that's so important because their heart is really in it. That's why they do what they do. They love what they do. And where did I learn my volunteerism? Right here in our village of Westmont. I don't know any other place that has as many eager volunteers. We're never short of people. And I really owe that to Westmont because I've learned that through being here. It's just been this whole thing has been a tremendous opportunity. And my goal is to get more educated, learn everything about parks and recs and conservation that I can, and bring it back home to the town I love right here in Westmont. So that is my plan. And I'm very happy to do that. It's been a real educational process for me to learn what I've learned since 2008, since I started on the Board of Trustees. And it's just such an honor to have gotten this far. But I want to thank everybody here in town. And I think what I'm so proud of Westmont, the one thing is that how our boards all work together. The village, the park district, the library, the police department, the fire department, the chamber, library. I don't know if I left anybody out, but our boards here in town work together. That is not the case in many communities, and I think that's what all brings us all together and makes our community better. So if you have any questions on Illinois Association of Parks, be happy to answer them.
I think it's a great honor for this community.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that maybe you can get a chance to get to the governor and have him release those grants that he promised.
I hope so. Well, that is a big part of what IAP does, and a lot of park district commissioners that don't have directors that lead them into getting involved in the association. Of course, we all know that our director does that. Director Mayor. So he's been very good at getting his commissioners involved in IAPD, and that is so important. But one of the big jobs we do is adversary. We work with our legislators. It's a big part of our job. And I was so nervous the first time I went in to talk to any of our senators or our House representatives, Patty Belloc. But I realize now they're just like everybody else, and they're here for us. And the closer you can get to a personal relationship with them, the better you do. So that's really it. I'm honored to be here tonight. So thank you for asking me to come.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I have another announcement that our Community Awards Banquet, hosted by the Chamber, is March 25th. At that time, it will be at the Chicago Oakbrook Hilton, right here in Westmont. If you're interested, you contact the Chamber. At that event, there's a number of community awards that are presented, which is highlighted by our annual Citizen of the Year. So for those, if anybody has not attended, it's a great evening. You see a lot of people being recognized throughout the evening for their service to the community, to the Chamber. So if you're interested in that, please contact the Chamber. At that point, I do not have anything, and I'll go to Clerk Simsky.
Well, first of all, I want to extend my condolences to anyone and everyone that knew Sandy Finn. She passed away, and she was a 40-year resident here. She worked as a librarian at South Elementary School, so it's very sad because Sandy was a great lady. And her visitation memorial is Sunday, February 25th, or 20th, 22nd, I can't even read right now, from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. at Toon Funeral Home, 109 South Cass Avenue, or North Cass Avenue, and 11 o'clock a.m. will be the funeral mass at Holy Trinity on Monday, the 23rd. So, great lady, so I hope people turn out. Secondly, I want to remind everybody that they have through March 10th to come in to the village or the library or, well, at least those two places to register to vote if you haven't registered. So,
Do you know when early voting starts?
early voting starts like the 10th or the 11th. It's right then. So
Okay.
I will announce it at the March meeting. But
It's a March meeting? Okay.
At the March meeting when early voting starts. But yeah, it's coming up fast.
Okay.
And that's all I have tonight.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Attorney Zemanek.
I would like to request an executive session at the end of the regular meeting to discuss collective bargaining negotiations and pending litigation involving the case O'Gradney versus Westmont. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Manager May.
Thank you. I have a few things this evening. First, although we just had a Public Works Committee meeting prior to this meeting, and you all met our new building commissioner, but I wanted to announce to everybody that we have hired on Nick Weinert as our new building commissioner. I'm not going to bring him up to make speeches, but I just want everybody to be familiar with that, that position had been filled, and who will be working with us on both in the building division of the Community Development Department with regards to all permit activity, building construction, code enforcement, and the code enforcement that goes with the property maintenance as well. Next, if I'd like Chief Weiss, if he would come up for the podium, and he's a substitute presenter this evening.
Thank you, Manager May. Mayor and board members, I'm here tonight representing the director of the Fire Service Institute from Champaign, Colonel Morgeson, and they came today because of your ability to surplus our very old reserve ladder truck that was 30 years old, and that you surplused it and donated it to the Fire Service Institute Champaign to help educate firefighters in Illinois. So today I'm here and want to present this to the mayor and the board on behalf of the Colonel and the Fire Service Institute in appreciation of the Village of Westmont and the Westmont Fire Department as a valued partner in support of our mission, helping firefighters do their work through training, education, information, and research, presented on this day by the University of Illinois Fire Service Institute. And it's a nice plaque that we present to the mayor and the board, and they wanted to show their appreciation. And the old ladder truck did drive away today, and it is down in at Fire Service Institute Champaign.
We'll make sure
Very
he
good.
displays this process. This is very nice.
That's so cool.
Can we applaud for ourselves?
Steve, I want to... I asked the chief to stay at the podium because just today at one of the park's facilities, our fitness club, we had an emergency. And our paramedics responded and with favorable results. So, Chief, I just want to compliment everybody for their quick action.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Yes, today the medics were called to the Park District Community Center on Plaza Drive for a person that had passed out, was in full cardiac arrest. We did have was it an employee or a visitor?
It was actually one of the members immediately started CPR.
Yeah, one of the members started CPR right away and got us called. We got there real quick. The paramedics were able to defibrillate the patient and bring the person back to life. So the person is at the hospital right now and in serious condition, but is alive right now. So with the efforts of the members there, the citizens that we train in AED and CPR, we were able to save a life today, and a lot of credit goes to that person because that initial start of that CPR is the most important thing. So.
And I'll be looking to maybe have you present a life safety award to that
Yes.
individual.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief.
Wow.
Great.
Okay, sorry, Manager May.
That's all right. Thank you. Next, I wanted to, briefly describe or a reminder, we talked about our budget workshops, and we have added an additional date. So our first budget workshop with the village board will be on Monday, April 6th, and that'll be in this room at 5:30 in the evening, followed by, it's kind of just be a continuation, however far the first meeting gets us, but the next one will be Tuesday evening as well on the 7th. Our budget process, well, it starts with staff, and it starts many months before you ever see it, and it's almost a year-long process. And we've been going through the budget already, and the initial efforts by all the departments are very, good to see, and then there's a lot of, I'm just very happy with, the progress that we've made to date. And then right up till yesterday, and this has nothing to do with staff, but during the governor's budget address, indicated the intention to propose a reduction in what's called the Local Government Distributive Fund, and that's where we get our state shared revenue from the sales taxes, and it gets distributed to the state of Illinois collects the sales taxes, and it gets redistributed to all the communities across Illinois, and they're proposing reducing that by 50%. Now, what that means to Westmont is approximately $1.2 million every year, and that's pretty significant, and it isn't like, it's a short-term, one-time, $1.2 million impact. This is an annual adjustment that we have to react if approved, in the budget, of course, but this is the proposal at this point. How are we going to adjust with that? And that's a very big percentage for us. So I can't really say a lot today. There's yesterday, this happened yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon already, between the Illinois Municipal League, the Mayor's Caucus, the DuPage Mayors and Managers. There's a lot of conversation. This isn't the only topic either. There's the pension reform issues, as well as the non-home rule powers as well, are the three top categories that would affect us. And I guess I just wanted to point it out. We were at the Mayors and Managers annual business meeting. I went with Trustee Scott last night. I don't know if you had any further insight on what you heard, but.
It's scary.
It's bleak, and it's making everybody nervous about where it's at. And it's and I'm not going to editorialize, but it's because it affects all the communities in the state of Illinois. It's essentially the same population being affected by the cut. It's just taking it away from the municipalities and making the state budget look better, and that's the short version of my my
an issue that has to
initial
be-
impression at what's going on. But it's, we get to suffer with that.
Is there a way, I mean, this is the first cut. Next year it could be gone. And is there a way that we could maybe, I don't know, put a form letter on our website so that our residents could go to the website and we could, write to the government, write to our legislature, I mean, make some, this is a huge hit on our community. I mean, this is police fight, I mean, one and a half,
But all it does, Sue, is kick the can down the line.
Exactly.
But that's not what we can't do that anymore. That's what we heard last night is
Yeah.
they were talking about pensions and why the pensions are getting out of control. One of the issues is that people are living longer. So there's more money being
Yeah,
paid out.
yeah.
Because they're living to 85.
90.
And that was never taken into consideration
When they
originally.
did it.
So you can keep kicking it down to some other board, to some other, elected officials down in Springfield, but it's either, my opinion is just either you start doing something now, or else it just keeps getting worse.
Right.
So I think that's what we have to think as a board, is let's think for the future.
But I think when,
And do what we have to do to get it straightened out in our little neck of the woods.
but when you don't even get me started on Illinois. I mean, there's so much waste. I mean, I'll put it out there. Why does Mrs. Rauner have to have a chief of staff? What staff does she have, and why do they have to pay her $100,000 a year? I mean, come on. They need to cut the fat a little bit more. This state is just a mess. And the community and our residents are the ones that are going to take the hit for it. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, that's the interesting part, because it's the same residents, it's just the
Exactly.
different entity.
Right,
So,
right.
And of course, that, is the governor's goal is complete and total, budget reform. So I understand that. So to your earlier questions, you have your local representatives and senators that, your opinion should always be expressed through. And, I forgot the other
Well,
part of that, but.
the DuPace mayors and managers is going to express that.
And IML, I'm sure, will
IML.
get involved, I
And you
hope.
mentioned the 50% and taking all of it. The initial talks and thought is that it was going to go after 100% of it. So there are some that view this as having saved 50% of it as
For now.
opposed to, losing 50% of it. But in our end, I brought this up because I was talking about budgets, and we are, because this is still tentative and how is it, going to play out, we staff, finance director and myself are essentially have to go through two budget processes at the same time. One, if this happens, and then if it's cut, then
What do we do? Yeah.
How do we deal with it?
methods for reacting to that. And
Yeah.
it all boils down to loss of services, but how to, well, I don't know enough to talk about it intelligently today, but I just wanted to let you know that we're taking two parallel paths, constructing the budget.
And I know we're on the trustee reports, but we went through that exercise when we lost home rule and lost the capability of that income, so we were able to balance it out. This is about, 4 to 5% of our total revenue is going to be lost, so, and we're pretty much operating on a break-even budget.
Yeah. Well, we've just
We are,
gotten,
for as long as the economy's been bad, we are so scaled back and doing more with less, and then even less, whether it's less staff or less opportunities. And we've done a very good job surviving, but we're at that point where, at a tipping point, if
Yeah.
you will, that it's going to be hard to
Well,
manage.
budget workshops will be
fun.
fun and interesting, so. Do you have anything?
Wasn't that enough?
Yeah, that's,
The last, I just wanted to point out later on the agenda, due to other circumstances that came up today, I'm going to ask that the presentation, postpone the compensation study presentation to a date uncertain, but we're not prepared to do that this evening, and I wanted to make sure no one was waiting for it, if they were here for that reason. That was all I had.
we'll go trustees. Trustee Barry.
Okay, we had a Public Works meeting prior to this meeting, and we were updated on the water mains that have broke this year. Only 7 this year, which may seem high to some, but most towns by this point are experiencing around average around 50. So from previous boards doing improvements, that is really why that number is down, and we knock on wood that they only have 7 for the year so far. Noriel updated us on the resurfacing plans for the upcoming spring and summer. Now, this would not be affected by budget because this is bonded money. So any of you that would be worried about your road not getting redone, those are all still on schedule. And then Noriel, as the season and weather gets appropriate, he'll give us a more updated schedule. John Yater gave us an update on how the winter blizzard snow operation goes as far as the primary streets, secondary, then moving to cul-de-sacs and dead ends, and then finishing up with the business alleys and then all other alleyways. Again, we compliment them on the job that they do. Westmont is at the top of DuPage County as far as snow removal. John also updated us on tree removal. For the 2014 year, he removed 644 trees, and then they replanted 436, with the hope for next year is to plant a total of 640. Again, a lot of those items will be budget pending. So that was the update for the Public Works. And now I have great excitement to introduce Amy Quattrone, the assistant principal from Westmont Junior High. She is going to present and discuss the Westmont Illinois Reads program that's coming up at the Westmont High School on Saturday, April 18th. I know personally myself, I'm involved, both chiefs and a lot of other participants throughout the community. This is going to be an exciting event, so please.
Thank you, Trustee Barry. Good evening. Thank you so much for affording us the opportunity to speak to you this evening. My name's Amy Quattrone. I'm the assistant principal at the junior high. I'm also a Westmont resident. And this is Sheila Rue. She's our media specialist at the junior high. We're going to give you a very brief presentation about a literacy event called Illinois Reads that's coming to Westmont High School on April 18th this spring. This is a great opportunity to unify our village through literacy.
So the Illinois Reads program is sponsored by the Illinois Reading Council, and it was started 3 years ago as a way to promote Illinois authors, promoting literacy throughout the state of Illinois. This year they were looking for a community to launch this event, and so they were looking for a community that would be the blueprint for future communities in years to come. So I'm very excited to announce that Westmont was chosen as the first kickoff site.
This event benefits Westmont in 3 ways. It builds a bridge between the community and the schools. It builds the capacity of readers of all ages from pre-K through adults. And it will also spotlight our community in a way that's never been done before. Tourists from all around the state will be attending the event and potentially visiting for the weekend. Activities planned will include Illinois author book talks, autograph sessions, entertainment such as the Jesse White tumblers. We'll also even have the possibility of professional athletes as well. And concessions will be featured and sold from local Westmont restaurants in a mini taste of Westmont fashion. Book clubs are also forming throughout the community for all ages in preparation for the exciting day. But we need your help. We need the community's help. A committee is forming to plan the event. A group of 25 of us met last week, including the 2 chiefs, and Larry from the chamber, and Trustee Barry, and a bunch of other Westmont residents and business owners. And we're all planning to really bring this amazing event to Westmont in a grand fashion. So if you would like to help out, you can always contact me, Amy Quattrone, at the junior high. And we have a committee meeting next week too, so we hope to see you there.
Great.
And the committee meeting is going to be?
On Wednesday at 9 a.m. at the Westmont Center.
Any questions? Anybody from the audience have any comments or questions for them? The two chiefs look good behind you. I don't know if they have anything.
They've helped out a lot. They're part of our promotions, our PR committees, and I thank them so much for the work they've already done.
The one thing you will see, Amy, we couldn't get up today, has a movie, it's about a 3-minute movie. What impressed us at the committee meeting last week was that the movie, it bridges the community, the school, and everything together. It's not just a school event, this is a community event. It's a statewide event. You'll be drawing people from Southern Illinois throughout the state, and it's a great way for us to showcase our community. And so watch Channel 16. We talked with Larry. Larry's also going to be helping us a lot as well, too. We're going to get that movie up on Channel 16 and also promote this event as much as we can.
And one more time, that committee meeting is Wednesday, February 25th at 9 o'clock
9 a.m.
a.m.
Yes.
Westmont Center.
Westmont Center.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Very nice.
Very cool.
And that concludes what...
That concludes trustee Addington.
A couple things. First one is, even though it's 5 degrees outside, we do talk barbecue at this time of year. Saturday morning, over at the Park District Administrative Center, I have 42 people coming to town, some of them from other states, to take a judge certification class in order to judge the barbecue event. So anybody who wants to come and see what's going on, more than welcome to do that. We meet on the first Monday of every month at the Westmont Center at 7 o'clock. Anybody who would like to come, visitors are welcome. And you learn a little more about barbecue and about our red, white, and barbecue. It's always a fun time, and we're anticipating, I think right now we already have almost 30 teams signed up for the event, and as I said, it's still cold and snow, so we anticipate
Might be in May,
having
too.
as many as 160 teams this year between Saturday and Sunday competition.
And
So
that's being held in
that's Memorial Day weekend at Time Warner Park. The other thing is, with economic development, I had a fantastic tour last week over at the Chicago Prostate Center, and there was probably about 20 members of from the Chamber and from Economic Development who took advantage of that. We met Dr. Moran, who's the doctor who did that place, and it is an extremely impressive facility. And I think they said they service about 700 patients a year there. But, you know, extremely impressive, and anybody gets a chance to visit, they love to have you. They like giving tours. They like talking about what they do there. There will be a business after hours on March 3rd at TheraCore. That's a physical therapy place, 350 East Ogden Avenue. There'll be some refreshments. They're going to do some complimentary chair massages. But again, a business in town that has been very supportive of a lot of our events, and come out, so come to their after hours and see their place. And then last night, we had the semi-annual chamber open house. There was, Larry, how many exhibitors?
Wow, that was great.
We had a lot of exhibitors from town. The Lions were there, the Rotary was there. Of course, you know, we tell everybody we're better.
I think we all work well together.
We do. And, but a lot of the businesses, the schools, people got to come, and there was some, being Ash Wednesday, there was some excellent food that some of our restaurants sent, and it kept it meatless because it was Ash Wednesday, so, but it was very nice. Again, things that we do, things that our chamber does is so very important. We have such a strong chamber, and again, support them every way you can, and that's all I have, sir.
Okay, trustee Scott.
Thank you. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be March 5th, 3:30 here at the Village Hall. And I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to attend the DuPage Mayors and Managers meeting with Manager May last night. It was very enlightening. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you taking my place.
That's what's up.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Trustee Nero.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. First off, Citizens Fire Academy sign-up is still live. There's a few openings remaining, so if you haven't signed up and you'd like to, please visit our website. The academy starts in March. Next item, big topic, stormwater infrastructure referendum. Just a few updates pertaining to that. We have some upcoming presentations I just wanted to highlight. This Saturday, February 21st, 1 p.m. at the library. This will be the League of Women Voters Stormwater Management event. The next one after that will be February 26th at 8 a.m. The Westmont Chamber is going to be hosting one. That night at 6:30, this is going to be a special village stormwater presentation here at Village Hall. And the next one is March 1st, which will be at 2 p.m. back at the library. The 26th, March 26th at 6:30 p.m. back here at Village Hall. And I know that's a lot of presentations, but we really just kind of want to get the word out there, get everybody's questions answered. If anybody out there wants a special presentation for a homeowners association or any other organization, please reach out to Larry McIntyre or any of us. We're happy to facilitate that if possible. Larry's email and can be reached at info@westmont.il.gov or at 630-417-0280. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
One thing, Westmont First had a meeting last night, and a couple of things that were discussed. One was an upcoming PVPN production of 12 Angry Jurors that's running March 20th and 22nd. And also on March 27th and 29th, they'll have The Wizard of Oz. And that says, oh, that must be 12 Angry Jurors. Wizard of Oz is in June. For more information, go to www.pvpn4fun.org. And then also, there's a business subgroup of Westmont First. They're talking about different ways to re-promote the Discover Westmont app for your phone. So that's all.
Good, thank you. Trustee Seneca.
Thank you. Just want to remind everyone it's Lent now, so the fish fry at the Knights of Columbus, first one is tomorrow night. It's a great family outing. It's like home-cooked food. It's reasonably priced, so head on down for dinner on Fridays during Lent. Also wanted to mention, just to keep lines of communication open between the village and our residents and ways of knowing what's going on in town, if you go to our website, westmont.il.gov, and click on the little icon that says Notify Me, it's an opportunity to sign up for all kinds of notifications via email or text message. It encompasses all of our taxing bodies, so there's school alerts on there, library, park district, village, alerts such as maybe there's a road closed or something because of an accident or whatever it is. You know, you can be alerted of these things, or if there's a meeting, there's just a whole menu of things that you can sign up for, and it's just one more way to stay in the loop and to know what's going on in your community. So that's it. That's all I have.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to items to be removed from the consent agenda. Any board members requesting any items to be removed? Trustee Addington.
This is more of, I think, for, not only for this time, but I think also for policy in the future. Anytime that we've got things that come up that are, and I'm talking specifically about the first purchase order, 5607 for $53,000, and then if you go to the next page, 5647 for $17,000. That's $70,000 worth of money for these cameras not budgeted. I really don't think that belongs on the consent agenda. That's something for that size ought, in my opinion, ought to be on the regular agenda to be discussed. That's a lot of
Automatically,
money.
just, you're talking about separated before?
I'm not saying for or against. I just think that that's an awful lot of money to put in a consent agenda that's not budgeted.
Would you like to have those two removed tonight?
I would. I think, well, I think they should be. That's just my opinion.
I think that's a good idea. I think that makes sense, and it opens it up so that the public knows what's going on and why we're.
That was a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second, Barry.
Motion's made and seconded to remove the two purchase orders that Trustee Addington mentioned out of the consent agenda to be addressed after the consent agenda. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Probably it was you on the second, right?
Yes.
Are there any other items that any other trustee would like to see removed? Seeing none, I'd ask Manager May to please read.
We read the items that were pulled out first? Or do we
Don't eliminate those, don't read those at all. and
do the
they'll
consent
be-
agenda without it?
Correct.
All right. On the consent agenda this evening, first is the village board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the village board meeting held February 5th, 2015. Next is finance ordinance number 20 in the amount of $1,494,268.69. Next is the January financial report. Board to consider a motion to accept the financial report submitted for the month of January 2015. Next is purchase orders. The first purchase order was one of the ones referenced for removal, which CDS Office Technologies is not part of the consent agenda. Next purchase order, Burns & McDonnell, $12,899 regarding the engineering services, the additional engineering services for the green infrastructure design related to Cumner. Next purchase order, the next one is for Burns & McDonnell, $37,000 for the same thing, was Cumner Road for the additional engineering services. I'll have to look to see which project was the last purchase order. It's not listed on here. Next work is Centennial, amount of $12,803. This is for the electrical work here in the Village Hall in the, what we used to call the unfinished room, but this community room next door to the Village Boardroom here. Next is Don Morris Architects, $9,657.62. That represents the January building reviews and inspection services. Next purchase order is Mabus, which is mutual aid box alarm something. What is that system? Division 10, $6,250 is our annual dues for Division 10, which also includes technical response team and the Mabus Mutual Aid. Next is Morton Salt, $45,000. This is for additional road salt purchases. When we have the budgeted amount and we go into the winter season, we cut a purchase order for exactly what the budgeted amount is, which was $110,000. We have spent all of that. We have all the material. We have it on site too, but in the event that we need further salt purchase for the rest of the year, this purchase order is to encumber an additional $45,000 for that purpose. We're not spending it yet. It's just to make it available, because when we have to order it, you know, it's same day. Next purchase order was one of the ones being removed, which was SHI International Corporation. Another purchase order, Westtown Refrigeration Corp., again going to the build-out of the second floor room over here. This is the HVAC services for that, $12,800. Next is the Westmont Park District, $12,500 for the quarterly landscape services, the quarterly amount for our annual landscape maintenance that we partner with the Park District. Last purchase order is for Willsburg Kelsey, $30,000. This is the purchase order accompanying the agreement you already approved for Phase 3 or construction inspection engineering services for the Eagle Creek subdivision and St. Joseph Creek stabilization project. That completes the purchase orders. Next is community events. First community event is Taste of Westmont. I'll say right now there are 3 community events on the consent agenda and one that's not on the consent agenda because that one is a new item. So these 3 are repeated events. As I was saying, Taste of Westmont 2015, board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Special Events Corporation for their 2015 Taste of Westmont. Includes special event liquor license fee waiver and amusement license fee waiver. Next special event is Westmont Street Fair and Cruising Nights.
You know, there were 2 other requests for taste. Maybe it didn't appear on your agenda, but it's live amplified sound permit prevent hours and street and public right-of-way closures.
I'm sorry, that is on here, they're just not,
Okay.
they're not numbered the same way, so I skipped right past it.
Sorry.
Okay, everybody's got 4 points? Next special event was Westmont Street Fair and Cruising Nights. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Special Events Corp. for the 2015 Westmont Street Fair and Cruising Nights event. First is live amplified sound permit for the event hours, and the second is street and public right-of-way closures. Typical street and right-of-way closures for Westmont Street Fair, except there's one small addition in this one. Normally, the closure is routinely from Burlington to Norfolk. The only change in this request this year is to permit them to decide on that evening if they need to expand to go further north, which could extend the closure as far as Naperville Road. Third special event is 2015 Red, White, and Barbecue. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Lions Club for their 2015 Red, White, and Barbecue event. Special event liquor license fee waiver. Second, amusement license fee waiver. Third, live amplified sound permit for the event hours. And fourth, road closure, Plaza Drive from Burr Oak to Blackhawk Drive on Wednesday, May 20th, 2015 through Monday, May 25th, 2015. And that completes the consent agenda as modified.
Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So move, Scott.
Second, Addington.
Motion made and second on the question.
I had a question on the street fair. I know that we were in contact with the businesses north of, on the north end of town there as far as closing the street. Was there any opposition to that from the business community?
It was, I don't know if Larry can add, but I know all of those businesses were contacted directly in writing, and several of them have reached out to verbally discuss the issue, so the ones that had a problem, and I believe they were able to address all their concerns.
Westmont Special Events was very proactive in reaching out to the businesses in that area. We visited every business location from Norfolk to Naperville Road, not only in person to talk with people directly, but also to hand out information that kind of spelled it out in text form. There were several businesses that have concerns. It's something new. One of those would have been Jimmy's, which is the gas station up there in the corner. And he's expressed concerns about various events, and it's a very similar conversation. Same with Nature's Best, but I don't think anyone actually said they didn't want that to happen. Is that true?
No, none of them said they did not.
No, and the only other feedback that we got beyond one-on-one conversations was Family Dental, which is they have Thursday evening appointments. And so they were asking about parking and things like that. We reached out to them directly and said we would work with them to make sure that there was parking available in the Manning School parking lot, which is directly across the street from them, and we would help them with those types of notices so that they can get the word out to their customers. So that was the most of it. Now, those were all on the, people who had concerns. People who were strongly in support of it included Neat Restaurant, Center for Dance. Both of them are completely on board and looking forward to, the growth of the event.
Good.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Anybody from the public have any questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll take a roll call to approve.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
And Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Okay, we will now move back, and we've got two purchase orders to discuss and vote on. The first one was purchase order 11035607, CDS Office Technologies, for the total of $53,421. Should I do them separately?
No, you can do them together.
And then the second one that was pulled off the consent agenda is purchase order 11035647 at SHI International Corp. for the total of $16,876. And I ask Manager May to please give an explanation on each one of these purchase orders.
Each purchase order, they're related to the same topic, and it's essentially the the automated, the in-car video in the police squads. The video equipment that's in the vehicles now, I forget what their age is, but they're more than 2 years past their warranty. They have been in budget proposals for at least the past 2 years. I'm not sure if it's 3, but at least 2 years, and it was part of the budget cuts. We have postponed their replacement. Right now, to date, this purchase orders for 7 of the 12 cameras to be replaced. It's not even the total replacement, it's just the minimum we have to do to get these back in working order so that those vehicles can be used in the field. And the rest of those purchases are going to be proposed in the budget for the next year as well. They also believe that the parts that they can save from these 7 could be used to help maintain the other ones until we can do the replacement. Chief would have to explain more about, the actual mechanisms and the purpose, but the other purchase order, if I can, is the part of that system that goes in the building or the server that allows these cameras to, as the police officer pulls back into the station, all of that information is indexed and pulled off and immediately brought into the police network for their purposes. Without that, you have to, is it critical? No, but this is also something that was going to be part of the budget when we had all 12 of them. It requires you to go manually to each camera every time and extract the information off of it, bring it back into the building, and then transfer it again onto there. So it's time consuming and the dangers that come with transferring data like that, but it's not an urgent part. It just was made more sense to do that now instead of doing it in May 1st and work 3 months. Well, 2.5 months, maybe 2 months after we purchased them. But that part could easily be postponed more easily than the cameras. Or please share your opinion on the equipment.
And speaking with Glenn, I spoke to him today on that. He would prefer the system be purchased and be done at the beginning as he proposed. As Manager May mentioned, Angela Whitehead would have to go out with the retirement of Jeff Olsom. We lost one person there. She and Roseanne would have to go out and free up more time for them if you had it. As Manager May said, car pulls in the parking lot, it uploads all the video that's on there and it indexes it, cross-references it to other police, the police case that's on record. Right now, Angela would have to go out, with a flash drive, download everything, try to find it on the camera first of all, then download it, and then come in, and it won't quite index as well as if we had the server right now. For her to go back and put the data in later, it can be done, but it's more preferred to have it indexed at the very beginning. The manager is correct. We have a policy. Our officers can't take a car out unless the video camera is working. We would only, right now, the cameras cannot even be repaired. We're not only past the warranty period. We've been out of warranty for the last 2.5 years. But now, I was talking with Glenn today, the company, I believe it's OEM, will not even repair the cameras. And we're beyond their functional life. The cameras are breaking down on a more regular basis. They're old. I want to say they're at least, they're in excess of 4, possibly even 5 years old. And they're just worn. So that's why we would request these 7 now, so we can get this purchased now and start working on installing these. Glenn also mentioned too that there would be we're expecting a receipt of 3 new squad cars. If we install the old cameras, which we have now in the changeover process, to have the new ones installed, to have those removed and new ones installed later would be about $500. So there would be a saving of $1,500 there if we did it this way. Any other
And
questions?
Chief, it's a great idea to have the cameras, but that's an internal policy that we've, okay.
Yes, Mayor.
There's no state requirement at
No.
this point? Okay.
No, there's no requirement for any police department in the state to have the cameras. It's each department's thing, but they have been very valuable in recording events and used in testimony in court. If our officers get arrested for a drunk driver or DUI arrest, that tape is invaluable and also greatly assists the officer when he takes that evidence to court.
Yep. Questions? Trustee Addington.
This one probably more for the good-looking guy behind you. But not only on these 2 items, but the other 2 that that were smaller. Today, we're looking at $140-some thousand worth of unbudgeted money. How does that affect our appropriations ordinance?
So we've got the money so first of all, we've got the money within the appropriations ordinance, which is our legal limit for what we can spend. With these cameras, we have the funds available. These cameras would be one-time expenditures as opposed to an operating expenditure. So we have some money in the reserves to be able to handle these kind of things. At the last budget discussion, as you'll recall, we discussed them. It was determined these were important and we would replace them if they were needed to be replaced. We decided at that point, the reason that it was discussed about holding off on it was that we felt we could get probably another year out of them, and we wanted to try to do that if possible. We didn't want to replace them just because they had exceeded their useful life. We wanted to wait until we absolutely had to. And we were hoping we'd be able to make it one more year, but kind of had the discussion that, as with other repair things, we don't necessarily replace them all before they go bad, and sometimes we have to say during the course of the year, okay, now it has gone bad, let's replace it. We do have the money available in our reserves to be able to handle this. It's not unexpected, and it's something that we strongly considered the budget, but thought, let's not replace them until we absolutely need to. And we're at that point now where we absolutely need to be able to continue doing it. And we don't want to get into a situation where we have video of some events but not of other events because one or two cars don't have the cameras. That would, not be an ideal situation.
What will be the cost when you do the other 5? Will there be more server equipment, or will it just be the 5 cameras?
The server equipment will cover all of the cameras, so these as well as the next set.
Okay.
And so that, it's kind of a one-time cost for all of the entire product, but the cameras would be the additional cost, and you've got
Estimated that the cost per car is $7,631, so if we bought the other 5, I believe that's what they cost.
Yeah. Is this something that we should start putting into our equipment replacement fund?
I think that it's another example of equipment that would be good to kind of have an equipment replacement kind of fund. It's not something that really ties that well in with vehicle replacement, because typically the vehicle replacement are things that are directly associated with the cars and have about the same useful life as the cars, and it's kind of the cost to outfit the vehicle. But it's another great example of, we have equipment that lasts a certain amount of time. It would make sense to start putting away a little bit of money for that. I think there's other items in IT that would be really good for that, as well as items at the fire department. I know they've got a lot of equipment that has an expected useful life. I think that would be something that would be great to do. And we can certainly
Sounds like I have another agenda item
try
for
to
the
look at
6th.
that.
Yeah.
To, try to
We can
look
put away
at that.
50% of it, the other 50% we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if it's a 4 or 5 year life, and we can use, what I used to call in the olden days, the 5-year plan, that in this equipment, it gives us the opportunity to set money aside a little bit at a time, and it's paid for. And it just, to me, makes more sense. But I understand and I appreciate holding off the way everybody did, because by the time it's all paid for, it's $100,000.
We budgeted
A lot of
$10,000.
taxpayer money,
We budgeted $10,000 for the last 2, I believe, 3 years since we lost our warranty for repairs. First 2 years, we were doing okay. We were under budget. This year, they're breaking down at such a rate that we're over the $10,000, and it's a necessary piece of equipment for us.
Additional questions?
Can I just ask the chief, so these can automatically be downloaded without somebody going out there?
Correct.
What's the range that's capable of
It's
doing?
my understanding, it's wherever the site, we can put remote sites. We talked about putting sites at the Public Works garage. We
I
want
mean,
to put-
distance from, let's say, the building.
It's my understanding, once they hit the parking lot, the officers don't have to do anything. The download begins automatically. It's my understanding on this.
So you could be in the front of the place, you could be in the back of it, it doesn't make any difference? Or is there a footage that they have to worry about?
That, I don't know the exact answer to that. I just been told that if they're in the parking lot, it will begin to trigger the download, upload and then download.
Could you find that out?
I will, sir, yes.
Thank you.
Good question.
Additional questions? Anybody from
I
the
agree with
audience? Anybody questions? I do appreciate that Trustee Addington pulled these so we can explain it to the public and understanding why it is an unbudgeted item, but essentially needed to be appropriated tonight. So,
Together?
seeing a motion?
Yeah.
No, we don't
Take them
have-
together unless someone wants to separate them.
Motion to approve, Barry? Both of them? As presented, yeah. both of them.
Second, Scott.
Motion been made and second to approve both those purchase orders as presented. Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Moving on, we do not have any unfinished business. We'll move on to new business. A, 2015 color stomp. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following request from Community Unit School District 201 for a new color stomp event on May 17, 2015. One, for live amplified sound permit for event hours. Two, street closures. Perimeter of Ty Warner Park, Plaza Drive from Burr Oak to Blackhawk, Burr Oak Drive from Plaza to Chestnut, Chestnut from Burr Oak to Blackhawk, and Blackhawk from Chestnut to Plaza streets. May be closed from approximately 8:50 a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. The appropriate signage and detour information will be put into place. And again, I was going to have Larry, but
The inspiration is here.
Inspiration is the young lady at the podium, but I'll ask staff to introduce and maybe give some additional information before they get.
Sure, actually, don't have a lot to say, except this is Heather Blaney, who's a student at Westmont High School, an exceptional student. Did an event last year that was very well received, and she'll talk about that. The reality is that she's done the vast majority of the work, and we've just assisted. So rather than take any of the credit or just introduce Heather and let her go for it.
Very good.
Hello, my name is Heather Blaney, and I'm a junior at Westmont High School. Last year, I took an English elective at my school called Changemakers, which gives students the opportunity to pursue their passions and create real-life change in the world through authentic learning and action research. As my year-long project, I was inspired to organize a conference on human trafficking in order to educate and raise awareness about this crime in my school, church, and community. On May 14, 2014, the conference was a major success. I got a panel of experts to present on the issue, which included 2 FBI agents, a human trafficking survivor, a psychiatrist, and a sister who leads Illinois Religious Women Against Human Trafficking. My work was recognized by Congressman Moscom, who gave me a congressional award and was publicized in the Suburban Life. Human trafficking is a criminal industry that affects an estimated 27 million people around the globe. In fact, there are more people in slavery today than at any time in human history. A serious problem such as this one demands serious action. In an industry that is so dehumanizing and rapidly growing, it is difficult to have hope. However, it's beautiful what can happen when community comes together to fight for a common cause. This is why I decided to take the Changemakers course again this year and make it my year-long project to organize a color run and raise $5,000 to Reclaim 13. Reclaim 13 is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to freeing children from sexual exploitation and helping them reclaim a life of freedom, healing, and hope. This 5K race is called the Color Stomp because my goal is to stomp out human trafficking and shed light on the stark issue that is plaguing our nation. District 201 has stepped up to be the co-host and co-sponsor of this race and will be providing the insurance, which will be handled by Superintendent Carey and myself. The Color Stomp will take place on May 17, 2015, at the Ty Warner Pavilion in Westmont, and the surrounding streets of Plaza Drive, Burr Oak Drive, Chestnut Avenue, and Blackhawk Drive. Registration will be from 7:30 to 8:45 a.m., and the race will start at 9 a.m. There will be a survivor to share her testimony at the opening ceremony, DJ entertainment after the race, and an expert on human trafficking to speak at the closing ceremony. There will also be different anti-trafficking organizations coming to set up informational booths. Everyone is encouraged to attend this race and experience the joy and excitement of what a color run brings. This is a unique 5K race that you don't want to miss. By coming or donating, you are showing your support for this cause and are helping to break the chains of modern-day slavery. If you are interested in attending the Color Stomp or want more information, you can refer to the race flyers or the registration website. Thank you for your time.
Well done, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So move, Seneca?
Second, Addington.
Motion made and seconded to approve on the question.
What's the website where we can sign up, or?
It's www.signmeup.com/105916.
Heather, can you explain a little bit about the color stomp part of it? Your mom was telling me a little bit about it today, and I think it's fun. Or is it supposed to be a secret?
No, it's not a secret.
Okay.
So it's a
Not
color
anymore.
run.
Not anymore.
Color runs are traditionally a 5K race, and so just as a title, I just wanted to put a spin on the title and call it the Color Stomp. And the logo that my friend is creating is a shoe breaking the chains of and stomping out the chains of slavery. So that's where the title came from.
And you're doing this as an independent through the school and not through a club?
Yes, I am taking a class called Change Makers. So through the school, I am taking, it's my independent project to organize this.
Wow.
You don't have to run it, you can walk it too,
Yes,
right?
you can walk.
You can use this as
crawl
a
it?
training for the week later for the big race
There you
True.
go.
That's right.
Good, yeah.
on Memorial Day, on Sunday, a week after that. So, and any additional questions? Anybody in the audience?
No, it's wonderful what you're doing.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Congratulations.
And Larry's got a question.
Actually, if we could take just another moment, I'd like to introduce Michelle from the high school. She's one of the teachers who's assisting with the coordination, has a few words about the event.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre, Mayor, and the board. I just wanted to thank everyone for the support for Heather. She's truly committed to this cause and has done a wonderful job organizing this all on her own. And I just wanted to thank everybody, especially Mr. Ramsey and Mr. Baxter, who I don't think is here, and Mr. McIntyre for their support. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Seneca?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Addington?
Yes.
We look forward to the event.
Yeah,
So
amen.
thank you. And your dad's running in the event? Walking. Oh, walking? I thought I would get a commitment from him, but all right. All right, well, congratulations, we'll look forward to it. New Business B, 132 North Cass Avenue, Downtown Development Grant Request. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from Crystal Gambassi of Crystal's Underground Hair Design in the B1 Limited Business District. 1, Downtown Development Grant Request in the amount of $1,113.50. 2, a sign permit waiver in the amount of $230. Manager May.
The applicant is requesting assistance with the cost of installing the new wall sign to identify their rebranded hair salon, Crystal's Underground Hair Design, formerly Cuts on Cass. This work is eligible for the matching grant of up to 50% matching grant up to $5,000, $5,000 maximum. The applicant is requesting $1,113.50 plus the $230 permit fee cost. If approved, the remaining facade grant improvement fund balance would be then $4,532.50.
I have a motion.
The applicant?
Is the applicant? No?
Yep, she's right
I
there.
wasn't sure if she
Come on
was in
up,
the
yep.
audience. Ms. Ziegler is not in, today, so who would have processed the application? You want it's an opportunity to describe your business a
You
little
want a
bit. Your
motion so it's on
rebranding.
the table? Or do you-
We'll let her get an opportunity
right.
first. So you're up there now. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Crystal Gambosi. I'm a salon that's been in town. May 1st will be 5 years that I've been there. And I was just trying to rebrand and make my business look better. I think it'll stand out a little bit more if I have an actual sign up on the building. And I was just asking for some help.
Well, do I have a motion
Motion, Addington.
Second, Nero.
to approve as presented? On the question.
Just a comment. I mean, she's been here 5 years, and I'll tell you, she jumps in with both feet for the trick-or-treat trail and everything else, a great contributor, and Bob has an appointment tomorrow. Great business there. It really is.
And Steve, is that usually part of the procedure that we waive the fee also with the grants? Is that pretty standard on these?
Is it standard to be requested? It is requested often. Whether it was the intent of the grant, I can't say, but the amount of the grant is also significantly less than the maximum that would have been available for it. So it is common to request the waiver of the fee, but it is separate from the grant process.
Any additional questions? Anybody from the audience? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
We look forward to the new sign.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. New business C, Holy Trinity Church liquor license fee waiver. The board to consider an ordinance approving the following request for the 2015 Holy Trinity Church benefit for the Haiti Committee scheduled for March 7, 2015 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. One, to waive the special event license fee. And I'd ask Chief Mulhern to give some background information.
Mayor, this is an event, again, by Holy Trinity. They're going to be serving and also selling wine, and I believe gifts of wine as well, too, if I'm not mistaken. No?
Well, with the dinner, a glass
Yes.
of wine
Okay.
is complimentary
And
with the dinner.
they're required to have a liquor license, and they are a non-for-profit organization, I believe, so that is why they're asking for the fee waiver.
And staff recommends approval.
I spoke with Deputy Liquor Commissioner Jim Gunther on this, and he saw no issues, no problems with this. It was his recommendation to approve.
And they will have a Bassett-trained bartender.
Bassett is beverage
Certified.
alcohol sellers and servers trained. In order to sell per our village ordinance, they have to have someone who's trained to make sure there's no underage sales
Okay.
or over-serving.
And what is normally the special event fee for a liquor license?
$100
$100?
per day.
So it's,
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve
Motion approved, Scott.
Second, Addington.
on the question? Anybody in the audience? None? Roll call, please.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
I'd like to recuse myself from the vote, please.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Okay, passes. New business D, the compensation study presentation. I'd entertain a motion to postpone this indefinitely.
So move Seneca.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made in second. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
New business E, elevator inspection contract. Board to consider an ordinance to approve a revised contract with Thompson Elevator Inspection Service. Manager May.
This item, we've already used Thompson Elevator for inspection services. If you recall, actually effective January 1st of this year, we are no longer interfacing with the annual elevator inspections, and that is the responsibility between the commercial elevator owners and the State Fire Marshal's office, so they'll just deal with each other. We still need elevator inspection services for new permit activity and doing those reviews and inspections for new installations, and any residential elevator that would ever be used, we still have to monitor that and review that. So we're taking the advantage of the change to renegotiate our contract with Thompson Elevator, and as a side note, they're still honoring their same prices that they were in 2008, last time we negotiated this.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Barker.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made and second to approve the revised contract. Is there any questions? Trustee Addington.
Any cost to us?
These fees are, our permit fees are already built to pass those costs through directly.
That's what I thought. One other question, Steve.
Yes, sir.
People who have these chairlifts, that's not part of this, is it? We don't go into people's houses, where they sit in the chair and it takes them up the stairs? That's not considered an elevator, is it? Or is it?
Chief, do you know?
I thought I'd get through a whole meeting without saying I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry I asked that.
I will.
That's not
You know,
covered.
the answer is no. Chief Weiss said they're not.
Thank you. Text
Thank
that
you.
to me next time so I can act like I know.
So it's just the elevators. So,
Thank you.
no further questions. Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
New business F, 2015 official zoning map. Board to consider an ordinance approving the revised zoning map of the village dated December 31st, 2014, as the official 2015 zoning map. Manager May.
Mayor, each year, well, by state statute, we're required to adopt our zoning map each year, and it must reflect the changes that were made the previous calendar year, so all changes effective through December 31st of 2014. We call that our 2015 zoning map. We have to do it by March 31st of the next year, and it's edited and prepared and before you for adoption tonight.
Do I have a motion to approve the revised zoning map?
Motion to, second Addington.
Motion made and second on the question.
I had one additional comment, if I could. There was an email question generated to the Community Development Department questioning their belief that they thought we rezoned a certain, actually, it was North Cass, north of Naperville Road. And the zoning map reflects the changes that we did the year before. So I went back several years, and the zoning map has never reflected those changes. So if there was a rezoning that happened in the past, not that we found that it was, but it was probably discussed, but you would have to act on it again because we've adopted multiple maps.
Since then.
Yeah, if that was the intent. That was just the claim. We haven't found any evidence that any rezoning occurred.
And if there is, we just revise our
Well,
ordinance.
I would just add it on the next year's
Next.
map.
Okay.
If something was rezoned and not caught on a map, simply, next time we publish, make sure we catch it.
Okay. So I just wanted you to know the question was generated, but we have not been able to substantiate it.
Any additional questions?
I would just point out that the zoning map is something per our ordinance that can be approved on the consent agenda. It wasn't this time, but maybe in the future it can be thrown on there as a pretty routine item.
Steve, one other thing, as long as we're dragging it on. The property that would be north of Ogden, there's been discussion there of changing that zoning. Is that not represented on this current map? Did we proceed with that?
The zoning changes do not occur by adoption of the map. They would have to been done by separate action, and after that occurs, those changes will appear on the next version.
We did
of
not
the-
take action on that property yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think we did.
Okay.
That was before
North
Economic
Cass.
Development Committee. Yeah, it was
He hasn't
discussed,
gone
but
to planning and zoning
there's
yet.
been no action.
Some
on
of
it.
them run together for me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
could have
hasn't
been
been to
economic.
planning and zoning yet, I don't.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Moving on the agenda to miscellaneous. Do we have any additional items that the board would like to discuss this
Oh,
evening?
the chief
Oh,
wants
the
to talk.
chief.
Does any of the trustees have any additional?
Well, I had one, I just wanted to know where these Class C pins came from.
Yeah, very
From the
nice.
chamber.
We do have our new logo pin. Manager
I think
May
they're very
handed me one. I guess he handed
Yeah.
everybody one.
Everybody's got one.
Actually,
And-
when we did the last service anniversaries, we were, if you recall, we've been still using the old logo with the silhouette of the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
And we have we continued to use that inventory until we ran out. So these are
Well, I have a
design. You can
bunch
give
at
Glenn, credit for the design and
They're really old.
order.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I like that.
Very
I think
nice.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous?
If I can make a comment, and I wish I would have when
Oh,
Miss
they're not
when
gonna
Miss
let you
Blaney was
talk.
up here, but District 201 from time to time gets flack, and we hear different things about District 201. I think tonight is a shining example of the positives of District 201. Looking out here, seeing families take pictures with fellow teachers and the programs and the quality of the student that we had before us today, I think says a lot about the school district and the effort that the team is putting forth there. So, again,
Well
thank
said.
you. to
We
them.
agree, thank you. I'll ask Chief Mulhern, you have a miscellaneous item.
No, I have a response to trustee Scott's question on the distance in the parking lot with the squads up.
Oh, you
could have waited till after.
I knew you would sleep tonight if you didn't have the answer. It is, the Wi-Fi is set up for any of the parking lots, so whether it be our west parking lot, our south, or on the east side of the building, any of the lots around our building, it'll get a signal and it will begin to upload.
Wow.
Good, thank you.
That's great.
It's good to know.
Any additional items? Anybody from staff? Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to go in executive session, discuss a collective bargaining agreement and pending litigation. O'Grady versus Westmont.
Motion by Addington to go into executive session for those two reasons.
Second, Scott.
Motion been made and second to adjourn executive session. Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
We'll adjourn now into the executive session. After executive session, there will be no further business voted on this evening. Again, this part of it's adjourned.